Okay, so things just got really interesting because close sources are saying Erika Kirk is not letting this one slide. Word coming out of her camp is that she is furious, and we are talking genuinely furious, over Druski's viral skit, and people close to the situation are saying she is actively looking at her next steps. We are talking about one of the most powerful women in conservative politics right now, and one of the most viral comedians on the internet, and the tension between these two sides is building fast. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, we are going to break down exactly what happened, what is being said behind the scenes, and just how serious this thing could actually get. Before we get into everything, let me make sure everyone is fully up to speed on who these two people are, because the contrast here is genuinely one of the most interesting parts of this whole story. On one side, you have Druski, real name Drew Desbordes, one of the most naturally gifted comedians working on the internet right now. No massive studio backing, no traditional late night platform, just skits, an elite production team, and an instinct for cultural timing that very few people have. His formula is almost surgical at this point. He builds a character so specific and so detailed that the audience always arrives at the name themselves. He never has to say it. He did it with the megachurch pastor skit earlier this year, ziplining onto a stage in designer clothes demanding millions in tithes, counting cash backstage, and the whole internet talked about it for weeks, named nobody. Viewers did all the work. That is just how he moves. On the other side, you have Erika Kirk, widow of Charlie Kirk, the conservative activist and Turning Point USA co-founder who was assassinated at Utah Valley University back in September 2025. Since his death, Erika stepped up to lead Turning Point USA as CEO and has been under the most intense public scrutiny imaginable ever since. She sat as Trump's personal guest at the 2026 State of the Union while the room chanted Charlie's name. She has been the subject of conspiracy theories, viral clips, podcast takedowns, and parodies on what feels like a weekly cycle. Every appearance gets dissected. Every word gets clipped. She is one of the most talked about figures on the entire internet right now, whether she signed up for that or not. So when these two worlds collide, you already know it was never going to be quiet. All right, so let's actually break down the skit, because if you have not seen it, the details are everything here. Druski posted the video to X captioned, "How conservative women in America act." Full prosthetics, blonde wig, heavy makeup, white jacket. The level of detail in the production was something else. People online were genuinely saying it did not look like him at all. The skin complexion, the facial structure, the way he carried himself in character, whoever worked on that wardrobe and makeup deserves serious credit because it was uncomfortably accurate.
Oh, I am willing to bet that Erika Kirk is pissed about the new skit that Druski just released. Can't nobody say that this man is not funny. And I fear Druski ate. The first part of this skit, he shows up with the sparklers in that all white outfit. Let me tell you, he got the look right all the way from the hair on her head to the shoes on her feet. Stop. Then the devil stare that nobody can forget. And once again, I fear Druski ate. Then he goes into the weird, awkward scenes where it always feels like she's making herself look like she's crying. And no, he couldn't forget the hand gesture, because she never fails to do this after she gets done looking like she's about to cry. And then throwing his twist on Erika Kirk's weird speeches that just never land right. I just know Erika Kirk right now is sitting back looking at this skit with those devilish eyes. She is so mad about this, because I'm afraid that Druski didn't miss one time with his representations of Erika Kirk. But y'all, let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments.
The skit moves through a series of scenes. It opens with fireworks and 2 American flags in the background while his character dances on stage, and people immediately clocked that as a direct reference to Charlie Kirk's memorial in Arizona. That was not accidental. Then we get a mock press conference about the Iran war, where his character performs concern while dodging every hard question. Then a Starbucks drive-thru ordering an organic pup cup. Then a Bible testimony, holding the scripture and talking about the holy blessed Trinity. And then, the moment that genuinely stopped the internet, his character steps to a podium and delivers a speech about protecting white men in America specifically. A guard in the background visibly reacts when the line lands, and that 2-second clip alone got reposted millions of times. And then, the Grok moment happened. Someone on X posted a still image from the skit and asked Grok, X's built-in AI chatbot, to identify who was in the photo. Grok responded with 2 words, Erika Kirk. Not Druski in costume, not a parody, just Erika Kirk. That single reply racked up nearly 500,000 views on its own, and the skit itself crossed 121 million views. At that point, this stopped being just a comedy video and became something much bigger. Now here's the context that makes everything make sense, because Druski did not just wake up one day and randomly decide to make this skit. There was a very specific real-world moment that lit the fuse, and it happened just 2 weeks before he posted the video. On March 11th, Erika Kirk appeared alongside Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders at a press conference, announcing Turning Point USA's Club America chapters expanding into high schools and colleges across the state. And during her remarks, she stepped to the microphone and told the audience, word for word, "Don't let anyone disenfranchise you because you're a young man, especially a young white male man." That clip went viral the same day it happened. X and TikTok picked it up immediately. The phrase young white male man became a meme within hours. People were also pointing out that a black student was standing directly behind her as she said it, which just added another layer that the internet could not let go of. So when Druski's character gets to that podium and talks about protecting white men in America, he was not fabricating anything. He was holding her own words up to a mirror and reflecting them back at 121 million people. Within hours of the skit going live, users were posting the Arkansas press conference footage directly side by side with Druski's version, and the comparisons were so clean that people genuinely could not tell which clip was which at first glance. That is the foundation of his whole defense, and it is a strong one. Okay, so now let's get into what is actually being said behind closed doors, because this is the part that changes the temperature of the whole story. Close sources say Erika Kirk is absolutely seething over this, and we are not talking about mild annoyance. People close to the situation describe her as genuinely furious on multiple levels. As a political figure who feels she is being deliberately targeted, as a public speaker whose words are being weaponized for comedy, and as a widow who is still very much navigating one of the most public grief processes in recent memory. Her husband was assassinated months ago, and now she is the subject of a 121 million viewed parody skit. You can understand why the anger is real. Sources suggest that conversations have been happening in her camp about what the next steps look like. Now, nothing official has been confirmed. No public statement has dropped. No legal filing has been made. But the fact that those conversations are reportedly happening tells you everything about how seriously her team is taking this. The question people close to her are apparently asking is not whether this crossed a line. They believe it absolutely did, but what can actually be done about it? And that is where things get complicated, because Druski never said her name. The skit was titled How Conservative Women in America Act, broad, general, no specific target named. Every element of the skit was rooted in things Erika Kirk actually said and did in public. Her camp can be as furious as they want, but legally, that is a very difficult case to build against someone who technically made a skit about a type of person rather than a specific individual. The internet connected the dots. Grok connected the dots, but Druski just made a comedy video about conservative women. Now, while all of this is brewing behind the scenes, the internet has been going absolutely crazy, and the reactions have been split right down the middle in a way that tells you everything about where America is at right now. On the positive side, the numbers speak for themselves. 121 million views, reshares in the millions, comment sections flooded with people calling Druski the GOAT. One reply alone with over 500,000 views said he might be the greatest for how he handled the whole thing. People were posting the skit on loop, creating their own edits, turning individual moments into standalone memes. The cultural impact of this thing was immediate and massive. But then, on the other side, and this is what makes the story genuinely layered, even people who love Druski's work were uncomfortable with this one. Conservative media personality John Root posted that it went too far and called it disrespectful towards a woman whose husband was brutally assassinated. Right-wing journalist Dom Luker said there is a responsibility to know when something crosses a line, especially when a real family is grieving. And regular fans in the comments, people who have supported Druski for years, were posting things like, "Bro, I love your work, but this one is not it." The divide is real, and it is not just a left versus right thing. It is a broader question about where the line sits between satire of a public figure and targeting someone who is still in the middle of a very public and very painful grief process. That debate is still going, and it is not close to being resolved. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Erika has any real move here, or is Druski completely untouchable on this one? Anyway, this concludes today's video. Be sure to subscribe to LoafTube for future celebrity videos, and turn on that post notification bell so you don't miss out on any future uploads. Until then, see you in the next one.